I love when they play a music song that fits so well into a trailer.
A music song?
My words.
Because a song would be different?
Yes.
Music song? Like human
song.
people?
Okay, I got made fun of because I do photography.
I get made fun of all the time.
Hey, let me tell my story, please.
I'm empathizing.
Please don't.
Oh, that's great. This is being recorded, so I love it.
On Monday night, I was in such a sassy mood at work. So I got made fun of because I do photography, mostly of dogs. And so I was telling my coworkers, yes, I want to get into like human photography. And they were like, you mean normal photography? I'm like, yes, but I want to differentiate because normally I just take pictures of dogs. I want to take pictures of humans. And they thought it was silly that I specified human photography. And I was like, well, fine. I want to take pictures.
We review it Wednesday.
I really, really freaking like that they have made $19.3 million at the box office at the time of this recording.
That's
with a $6 million budget.
That's amazing.
People are hungry for real life, true family value, traditional
struggle.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is what really happens. We screw up.
We adjust.
We, like, when you do... so sometimes you have to... One person does the heavy lifting for a while.
Yep.
And then you switch. And then you do it together. And then,
right.
And that's what this is.
It is.
And that's real life.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
It is.
And all this rugged individualism, it really doesn't work. And no. I love it. Yes. I mean, I just can't even, I don't even know how in the world you could say it enough and loud enough that this film should be seen by every human.
It's so good.
People.
That's
human
right.
People.
It's important to distinguish what we mean by particular things. So I appreciate that you said human people. It is a great film. It was one that when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, I'd be interested in seeing it. I was like, oh, yeah, we do review movies. This would be interesting. We want to talk about. On top of that, I think if I didn't do the podcast, this is a movie I probably would have waited for it to release just on DVD.
You would have never watched it.
That is not true.
It might not be true, but
Megan loves these types of films.
Yeah.
And so then I end up watching them. So I would have watched it at some point. And that point was 2 weeks ago for me this time.
And you've seen it twice.
No, I've only seen it once.
Oh, I thought you said you saw it twice.
I said I should have seen it twice.
Should have. Oh.
And I did not. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it really is. And I met Rebecca St. James 93, 94, somewhere in there for the first time. She came to Rochester.
Minnesota.
Yeah, and the long story short is I was involved with a Christian radio station here in town and helping set up, and I think twice when she was here.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. I remember one of the times the kids were with, at least a couple of them.
There's just a few.
Yeah, I remember, though, a couple of them. I don't remember which ones, but I remember a couple of them, the boys, not the little girl. But
I just can imagine.
It was cool. So it's personal for me. Like, there's personal experience in there. Not that early in the whole thing, but a year or so later. Yeah. I mean, she was just really getting started.
Because this is what we were talking about last week about how far would this film go in the story.
Right. I was really curious because, exactly.
It doesn't go that...
No, it really doesn't.
When it comes to her actual career, it doesn't really go anywhere besides
just
getting discovered.
Initial, just initial, like, launch.
Yeah. This movie was all about just the family dynamics.
They're going to do another one.
You think so?
I do. It might be a while, but they'll do another one. They'll do the story of for King and Country and how that got going.
Interesting.
I really think so.
Well, especially
Because
they,
they're really who are spearheading a lot of these things, and
Yeah.
they have been for 10 plus years, really.
and they really, I mean, all of these trailers and advertisement you do see for King and Country film,
Yes.
which means that, to me, you're right. They would probably be building an industry of films.
Right.
Otherwise, you just do Unsung Hero.
Have you followed for King and Country much?
Not too much.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty, they're entertainers.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're friendly, decent guys, Joel and Luke. And,
Yeah.
but they're entertainers, for
Yeah.
sure. 1,000,000% entertainers.
I thought that. So this film does the typical thing in movies that are based off of true stories, where it does like the end, like where are they at now? And I
Yeah.
did enjoy the brotherly thing. He finally convinced me to join the band,
Right.
And so that was really fun.
And they weren't called for King and Country initially. I mean, I can't remember exactly what it was, but something about Australia thing, some weird name or whatever.
For the Shire, and
Yeah, for the Shire,
Hobbits?
something like
Yeah.
that.
for Mordor.
And then they kind of came up with for King and Country. But I went into this, I did look at the budget before I went into it, like a week or maybe 2 ago, I suppose. And I was thinking, yeah, this is going to suck. I think the story will be good, but the cinematography is going to be terrible. I think that they're going to have, the locations are going to be
Cheesy.
just cheese.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
green screen, weird, cheap, cheesy, like Ghostbusters. The dog creature thing.
Oh yeah,
You know how bad that was in 1984.
not great, Bob.
It wasn't great. So
Yeah.
I was thinking of this like that.
but it wasn't.
It was not.
No. You know what,
What they did for $6 million
Yeah.
was great.
I wonder how much stuff too, because I would assume a lot of it was on location. It has to be on location, and so like, did people just like give up the space to be able to do that as well?
Right.
Like, because if you're able to do that cheap, because I know there's like movies and TV shows where you can like rent houses and stuff like that, and they just keep it the same,
right.
so they don't have to adjust much, which I would assume be cheaper than having to build these huge sets.
Well, and that's another thing that would be interesting to dig into, I suppose. There's sets that they have on different film locations that have been there forever, and that
Right.
they've done things like built some of these places that they just reuse.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I didn't look into it, but it could be something like that too.
Yeah.
However, however they did it very well.
They did.
For that kind of money. It
Absolutely.
was great.
Much better than a lot of films we've seen in the last year.
Yes. With much
Higher. Yeah.
But that's what you get when you have people that are involved in something that they really believe in. They're extremely passionate about it. You get not only success in the sense of it, in particular they've made the money back and then some, but you get the success of the reward that people enjoy it, the reward that you poured everything into it, and there's an end product, all that kind of stuff. I mean,
No
that's
regrets.
all here. No, exactly. So that's really fun for me.
It was fun just watching the family dynamics.
Yeah.
The mom. Do you want to start talking about?
Well,
sex?
sure. Let's do character chemistry.
I really like the mom character in this film.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a terrible job at remembering names
Sure.
because I was in the womb when all this stuff was happening, and I was probably not even in the womb. I was.
So do you
probably
want
not
her
even a
name
concept.
or like her?
I'll just call her mom.
Okay. Well, Daisy Betts, but it was Helen. Played Helen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Helen's a good name. Good Australian.
Sure.
Strong name.
Sure.
She was, I mean, to me, she was the protagonist in this film. Like, the whole family dynamic, obviously they're all kind of protagonists, but I think a lot of it focused around the mom, which I was not expecting.
Yeah.
And she did a good job delivering with all the different relationships she had with each of the kids.
Right.
I loved when she came into the house and the kids were like, oh, where is everything? Like, why is everything furnished? And then she kind of turned around of like, well, astronauts, they don't sleep in beds, or adventurers, they don't sleep in beds.
Yeah.
And so it was just cool to hear some of that stuff, and the way that the mom, you know, you talk about the give and take in relationships, and the mom really stepping up and being like, no, I didn't necessarily want to be here, but here we are, and how do we
Right.
make the best of it?
Right. The one thing that having 20 years on you,
Right.
experience, life is not like that, really.
Right.
Like when you tell the story,
Yeah, you can exaggerate.
you're exaggerating, you're
Yeah.
embellishing, you know, all that. However, I don't think there's hyperbole in here.
Right.
I don't think that it's way over the top exaggeration. I do believe there's embellishment and some of that kind of stuff in here,
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah,
How do you think it would have been, again, for the, we're gonna call him Dad.
well, David and is the dad's name, but who played?
No, we'll call him Dad.
You call him Dad. All right, we can do that.
Big D. Oh no, David. Because obviously it's a family business still of everything happening going on. Like, I feel like it would be really hard for David to watch this film. Like,
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm sure he had to fight
You're-
some demons. I mean, he was clearly fighting demons during this whole film.
Yeah,
And to look back on it and to kind of see in a film kind of those portrayals, even like we said, they're kind of probably exaggerated at points to what actually happened. I mean, going both ways. I'm sure it would be, for me, it would be hard to like look back on this film and see kind of the hardship that I caused. Again, he's probably at a better place now, understanding.
you'd have to be. But the thing that I will say, it's really, really tough. You have to be extremely willing. I'll say it like this: you have to be extremely willing to be an entertainer.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to understand that there's different levels of that
Yeah.
entertainment, that you have. There's a lot of, you really do get proud, and you really have to understand that pride has to completely go away,
Right.
for you to make it and survive.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a healthy pride, I suppose, in
Yeah.
what your work is and what you're trying to achieve and your goals, but not the unhealthy kind
Right.
that
He
was
got
clearly here. And so I think that they navigate that really well.
Yeah.
And so he clearly did navigate that really well in order for this to be on screen,
Yeah. I agree.
you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. I
Like, he
just know-
navigated
He
it.
did.
And he knows how important it is to get that out there,
Right.
especially in today's world.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yes.
Because you know, I can guarantee you that he is getting David, the real David,
We call him Dad.
Dad. He is getting all kinds of hell unleashed on him.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
This stuff.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to do that.
Yep.
And I understand that.
Right.
Like, in the experiences that I've had, I understand that. You got to let them unleash hell on you.
Yeah.
But you know that it's for a
Better purpose.
it's for his purpose.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately, that's the only way you can survive it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, anyway, I know that's a little bit off track on normal movie talk, but that's kind of what we do.
That's right. We don't, we have a train, but it is not on tracks.
It's not a straight track.
Some would call it a boat. That should be a train. That doesn't even know what it is anymore.
I don't think we want to talk about that, though, either. Anyway, for the budget, for the actors, actresses, whatever, unknown as they are, I mean, you know, some of them are somewhat known. They did a really good job.
Yeah.
And I, just for the emotional things that they had to do and go through, I thought they did a really good job.
I agree.
So I gave it a 4.0.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and I gave it a 4.2. This film is, I mean, cinematography is important.
Yeah.
Entertainment value is important, but in order for those things to succeed, the actors have to work well together in a film like this. And I think they did a great job of portraying the characters and knowing, again, we know who produced it. It's the family.
Yeah.
And so
clearly it's going to be bias.
well, it's going to be biased, but also they have the connection to be able to talk with the people that were actually involved
For
too.
sure.
And so I think they did take that time, and working with kids, especially, like, I mean, they're younger. They're at this point of, like, they would have the talent to be able to obviously stay focused on what they're supposed to be saying, but to me it would still be kind of hard. Like, the kids are unpredictable.
Can you imagine the bloopers that they
Yeah,
had?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Especially like the playground
Yeah.
scene. That was
They're all
cool.
pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was good. Burn the ships. You know the song?
No.
Burn the ships.
No, I should really.
They
listen
talk
to more
about
music.
burn the ship.
Oh.
She took the imaginary torch
Oh,
and they
yeah,
threw
yeah,
and
yeah,
burned
yeah.
the ship, and they had the glow.
Yeah.
You know that it was actually burning.
Oh,
obviously
right.
it wasn't. Burn the
Yeah, yeah,
ships.
yeah, yeah.
You have to listen to the song
Yeah.
for King
I
of
do.
Country. Burn the ships. But anyway,
So I think they did really well. It's a big family.
yeah. Cinematography.
It was needed.
They had it.
Any film you want it, they have it. I really enjoyed that they kept it simple.
Johnny Durango was the cinematographer, by the way.
Durango. This is how you know it's an Australian film. I should have looked at the post credits of who were. Durango is Australian. You can't tell me that's not an Australian surname.
Right.
They kept it simple, and I really enjoyed that aspect. They didn't go over the top with cinematography. So I gave it a solid 3.9.
Okay. It was very real to me.
Yeah. I like the
I-
filter they used.
Yeah, because I clearly remember that era.
Yeah, watching the same filter in your head.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
The nice, like,
And-
blue tint.
And so I really thought they did a good job. There's a few things that didn't really work. Some of the phones, I mean, probably weren't from 91, 92,
Yeah.
93, but some of them were.
Yeah.
And so
Fax machines.
oh, the fax machines, that's legit.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's always good when there's fax machines. That's how you know it's old.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So it felt like the time period enough to me.
Yeah.
And so
Again, I was still incubating.
exactly.
It seemed real to me.
I didn't give it as high a score as you did though.
Okay.
I gave it a 3.6. I think that some of the things that they did with maybe it would be more of an editing thing, I suppose, but it's the way it comes across on the screen.
We lump a lot of things together with cinematography.
We kind of do.
'Cause that's how we have to
sorta-
talk about it.
Yeah,
It's-
it's sort of like because that's how it looks on the screen.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, yeah.
It was interesting the relationship they had with the pastor stuff too.
Well, it wasn't the pastor.
Or no, yeah, you're right.
It was just,
A layman,
yeah,
Was it layman?
like a,
because he does productions, I guess.
yeah, I mean, he was involved
Yeah.
in the church, but yeah, so he was a songwriter though.
Yeah.
I should have looked him up.
We'll call him Dave.
That's the dad. Any
Oh, Dave Bidd.
anything on entertainment value on something like this that we should kind of throw out there before we talk about it? How do you go about entertainment value on this in your mind?
So to me,
I
it's
can tell you how I think, but
the
how would you-
value of the story and how invested I am to care about the backstory. I don't know. it's story driven to me is where the entertainment value is.
Yeah.
Versus like action, it's going to be how fun was it to watch these action scenes, comedy, how many of the jokes stood well. For movies like this, where it's based off a true story, a lot of times, we did the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which is also quotes unquote based on a true story. Again, that was very exaggerated.
Yeah.
But going to that, you still know it's going to be more of an action-based film versus a narrative-driven film. And so it's kind of like why I enjoy Shawshank Redemption. There's not a ton of action scenes. And so the entertainment to me is the relationships, how well do they work together, where's the character growth within the film, and is it plausible to see where they start up to where they end.
So the way I would consider entertainment value as a whole is how quickly they get you hooked in the story.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a beginning, middle, and end, but it's also really important to me that how does it tie together?
Yeah.
Because they can really start out something really strong, and then they just drag it on.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end, and you're like, the first 15 minutes were dynamite.
Yeah.
But the last hour and 55 minutes were horrible.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Right.
Like, I'm watching this to the end because it's got to get better.
Yeah.
But, we freaking out on cameras again?
Twitch.
Right. Looks like we're all on, though. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, how do they hook you, and does it make sense at the end?
Yeah.
Wonka was terrible. That's
Yeah.
an example of, it was just, what was going on here?
To
Like,
be fair, that did not start well. It did not.
yeah.
In the
You
middle
know,
was not well. And the end was also not well.
it was just all over the place. It
Yeah.
It was a musical, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and then, I mean, it's, yeah.
I still have to watch the new Mean Girls movie.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
No.
I've even seen that.
I know.
I think it is definitely something. I shouldn't say I think. It is definitely something I'll watch again.
Mm-hmm.
Would like to buy it. Hopefully it comes out on physical media. But it's something that I was emotionally like right on the edge of tears a couple of times. So that's cool.
That is cool.
I'm a lot more emotional than you are.
Yeah, empathy does not exist in this dojo.
So that was cool, as well. And that's part of the entertainment for me is like, does it bring you on to those places?
Yeah.
As a person. So anyway, much higher than I thought I would rate this.
That's how I felt watching this film.
At an entertainment value, I'm a 4.2.
Okay.
I just thought I thought this was going to be one. I'm going to love the story, and everything else is going to suck.
Yeah.
And I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave it a 4.0. I was very pleasantly surprised with this film. And like you were talking about, it kept my attention for the whole film. There was there were some parts that were slightly drawn out.
Yeah.
But that happens in any film.
Yeah.
But overall, they did a good job at keeping the pace and knowing where they started, what happened in the middle, and where they needed to go.
Yeah, good stuff.
Unsung.
Rebecca St. James, the way that she came up with the name was cool too.
Yeah.
So, Eddie DeGarmo, I met him once.
Oh, cool.
And stuff.
That's
yeah.
fun.
I don't remember him being quite that eccentric. Did I say that
Eccentric
right?
is the word.
All right. I don't quite remember him being like that, but I don't know.
I also
Pretty
liked
young.
how much singing just randomly happened throughout the whole film,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like
that's happening in a
absolutely.
family that they
Yeah.
can sing like that.
Yeah.
for
so
sure.
it was fun to see, and it was interesting because at one time where Rebecca had her song and the boys were singing it, and Rebecca was like, "Not right now. I can't hear it."
Right.
And so
that was
again,
cool.
those were the emotional beats. That are like, man, it's hard to see, but you can. It's so real.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, we appreciate your comment, your hammer,
The subscribe button
and the like button,
and the like button
and
the share button,
and you can also tell us what you think
on an email at legitq@meddiesmoviemix.com.
See you next time. Thank you.
For viewers like you.
Hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bells, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us. We appreciate it.